And in this video here entitled Taking Back Our Streets, Mad Lab Press, Rebel News, and True North Transparency here, you can see they're at this fake staged protest. That's what that was, the whole Take Back Our Streets thing. Nothing more than a staged protest in which they used these paid actors to pose as pro-Palestine advocates and have them act crazy and violent and aggressive, and then they staged these fake conflicts to make it seem like the other side, the Psyop side, is the peaceful side, and you know, the whole routine there. So here they are here, True North Transparency, and the other shill Freemason auditor, Mossad Lab Press, giving the same hand signal that you will have seen Officer English, the Freemason cop who attacked me and who just randomly happened to show up yesterday in True North Transparency's staged fake video. You can see him doing the same hand sign, the sign of the horns there. So we see the police doing these hand signs, and these auditors who are supposedly for freedom and pro-freedom and all this nonsense, flashing the same hand signs as the cops who they pretend to expose in their videos. And if you watch this video here with this laughably fake protest with all these actors in it, you don't have to look very far to see how obviously staged all of this is and what nonsense it is. And the whole situation with the Take Back Our Streets situation, they're doing it as a result of what they claim were all these hijinks and all these things that these fake actors who are hired to pose as pro-Palestine people were doing. In reality, these are just actors, and then they have them go out there. The state pays them to go out there and act crazy. Then they film it and put it on Rebel News, and also all the other mainstream news outlets cover it. And then obviously this presents the narrative that they want to present to make the opposition seem crazy. And there's a video with Freemason True North Transparency here where a bunch of these actors just approach him randomly and start shouting at him and kind of attacking him. And they don't even know who he is. They don't even know, for all they know, he could support their side. So why would they do that for nothing? Well, they wouldn't. Real protesters wouldn't do that. Paid actors would do that. And so that's what they're doing with this nonsense. And the whole thing with the Take Back Our Streets thing was nothing more than staged, a large-scale deception event that was staged in coordination with the Canadian media, the drug trafficking Freemason police, who also work with these auditors. And it was the usual routine where they pretend to oppose each other, the Masonic two sides that they always create. So yeah, these actors here, you can see very clearly he's making the same hand signal as that drug trafficking criminal cop who True North Transparency staged that video with yesterday, the same cop who attacked me. These people do not really oppose tyranny. They're a part of it. If we look at this video from another Canadian auditor entitled "Two Cops Go Hands On." Now they use these repeated phrases, this Orwellian newspeak. All of the auditors in all of the Five Eyes countries who they use to stage these fake interactions with their Masonic brothers in the police, they use these catchphrases like "went hands on" or "a Karen," "a Durin." The same, it's just Orwellian newspeak, and they're told to repeat these phrases over and over again so that the public will just adapt these, these phrases and start saying them. So yeah, it's just, again, that's how the state in general controls and manipulates people, language, and how they dumb people down with repeating these same phrases. Exactly what is described in Orwell's 1984. So the Frauditors are just actors, and they're told in their videos to repeat these silly phrases like "a Karen," "a Darren," "he went hands on," "walk of shame." And all of these people in 5 different countries are all just going to start doing that randomly, right? Obviously, it's an intelligence agency operation, and they're told to say these things. But anyway, here, you can see again the same hand sign. This way, he's got it inverted, but it's the same hand signal here as this actor, this Freemason cop, flashes the sign to his fellow Freemason actor here, the auditor, just before he does this fake little skit where he kind of slaps the camera away.
Why did you touch me like that? Don't touch me like that.
Yeah, it's all staged, okay? It's all staged. But they do things like this, put stuff like this in the videos, because they know that's unfortunately what people want to see. They want to see conflict. They've been dumbed down to want to see nothing but conflict and people attacking each other and these ridiculous, petty arguments. So that's what they give you in these Frauditor videos, because they know that the masses have been so dumbed down that this is what they want to see. All of it is fake and staged, and these people work together with the police. They're not for freedom. They're nothing more than state-funded actors. And what they're doing when they flash these little hand signs as they put on these staged little acting skits to deceive some segments of the population, what they're really doing is they're just showing the people who are involved in it. It's just a way of sending a message to the people who are involved in it, letting them know it's all fake, and just speaking through signs and symbols instead of words. And that's what these deceitful, dishonest, dishonorable people do. And these are the people, make no mistake about it, who have worked tirelessly to subvert democracy in this country with all of these staged fake events that they use to justify the removal of rights and enacting new laws to restrict freedoms. And these auditors and their friends in the police work completely together, and you can also see they're even showing you the exact same hand signals, because that's the way they speak, through symbolism and not through words. They'll lie to you with their words and deceive you openly, and then show each other these little hand signals. And you can see this hand signal here in some Masonic manuals as well. It shows it in some of the older manuals that show, you can find online, that show Masonic hand signals. That's in there. That's the sign of the horns. I'm sure maybe it has another name as well in those manuals, but you can also see Anton LaVey of the Church of Satan showing that hand signal, saying that's the sign of the horns. Okay, so let's make no mistake about it, and be very clear on what these people represent here. And this character, Mad Lab Press, also claims to be an ex-Toronto cop. He was the one who, around a year ago, had that fake staged video go viral, where the Toronto cop gave him the finger. You don't get, anyone with any sense knows that you don't get talked about on mainstream news if you're actually exposing the police for real. They'll shadow ban you and make sure hardly anyone can see your material, as is the case with mine. But yeah, what you need to understand about these people too is they're psychopaths, and they're deceitful, devious people who will lie about literally anything. They'll participate in staged events which even exploit children and which fake the deaths of children, all to achieve the end goals that the state wants to achieve. So they're change agents, these people. And if you look into and understand the communitarian systems that they have rolled out all throughout the Five Eyes countries and elsewhere, then you'll understand what a change agent is. They're basically people who the state funds to take control of a certain narrative, and in some cases give some legitimate truth, but to guide it in the direction where the state wants it to go. And so that's why they have these Freemason actors, and oftentimes they'll use Masons to do that, because Masons have taken their oaths to the lodges and they essentially control them. They're the useful idiots of the state, and they will use them in these acting skits to deceive people. And so, of course, this individual here, Mad Lab Press, claims to be an ex-Toronto cop. And as we know, almost all Canadian police officers are Freemasons, vast majority of them. So, right there. But yeah, they're not going to give anyone, any legitimate police officer, because there have been cops, certainly, who have stepped away because of this tyranny and because they didn't want to be a part of this community policing system that's been brought in throughout the Five Eyes countries. But the ones who step away from it and try to actually become whistleblowers, they're going to get completely shut down. They're going to get targeted. They're going to get put on watch lists, and they're going to have people attempt to destroy their lives. You're not going to get any massive platform like this psychopath actor here has. They're not going to talk about you on the news. Why would they talk about you on the same news that the people who are running these operations control? They're not going to give that person any exposure, because even if they're running them down and ridiculing them, they know that any exposure of someone who is a real activist is good exposure, even if it's the news ridiculing them. So they're not going to give any real people legitimate exposure. So this actor here, again, flashing his satanic hand signal there, is just a fraud. Another thing you need to know about these Freemasons here is that they absolutely hate and despise Christianity, and they want to destroy Christianity But they're not going to come right out and say that. They're going to be deceitful and devious about it, in the same way that they do everything. So these people here and Rebel News, who they work with, are all about that. But they'll pretend otherwise. Again, they're deceitful, devious psychopaths who lie and deceive about everything they do, and you can see what they represent right there, okay? They hate Christianity. They want to destroy Christianity. So don't be fooled if you are a Christian and you're supporting these people. Think about that. Think about who they really are. They're not for freedom. They're frauds. They worship Lucifer. Freemasons do at the top. And these people know that as well. And you can see what he's doing there, the hand signal. So they hate Christianity, these people. And this is all an act. They're not for freedom. And here we see at the beginning of his most recent video, True North Transparency, promoting the QR code, promoting the symbol that is going to be associated with the digital ID. And that QR code is something that they're going to force you to use to pay for anything in the future. Right now, they're just trying to normalize it. So they have all these advertising companies putting it out just so you see it everywhere. And people who they control, controlled agents, are told to put it out there too. So as you can see, he's got the QR code at the beginning of this video. And of course, donations are greatly appreciated. He needs you to give him donations. Well, he doesn't need you to, but he offers people the ability to give him donations for deceiving them and lying to them and pretending to be for freedom when he really works for the people who he pretends to oppose. And that's the QR code there, again, which will be closely intertwined with the digital ID. And you see this Freemason actor also actively promoting that in his videos, that symbol. And all of this orchestrated chaos and these manufactured events where they set up all these staged fake altercations and then put it out there in the controlled media play perfectly into the Hegelian dialectic system, because then they can use this as an excuse to say, well, look at this, look at all this chaos going on. We need to bring in more policing, more police. We need to push more towards the goal of the desired outcome of the military police state. So it all plays in perfectly with the plans. And these Freemason auditors are doing their jobs of just participating in these acting roles to help push that through. But it's done in a way that is very clever, because they're still trying to present the illusion of democracy to those who are not awake. And from the outside, if you don't understand what's really going on here, it looks, I can see how some people might think that these people are actually standing up for democracy, but you got to look beneath the surface. You've got to understand all of the extensive deceit that is going on here, and how they always constantly exploit and prey upon emotional manipulation. That's what they use. It's always emotional manipulation. These people involved in this are beyond sight. They're psychopaths. They're so sick, again, that they have no problem using their own children to pretend that their kids died in these fake events. And then that will be put out on the news, and they will use it as justification to enact the goals of this whole system that they want to achieve, the goals of bringing in this tyranny, because they can't just come right out and say, we're restricting freedom here, we're restricting free speech there. It has to be done in this deceitful method so that they can push it through to try to justify it. They're not just going to come right out and say, you know, we're restricting your ability to film any of these stalking police. It has to be done in a way where they set up scenarios using these actors so that they can justify it using the controlled fake media, and then set up all these stories saying, well, look what this guy's doing. They're going to continually fly drones over police stations. Obviously, they're told to do that, and that's set up to provoke a reaction. Problem, reaction, solution. No one sensible, no reasonable person believes that you're standing up for freedoms by flying a drone over a police station or by filming people sitting out front of a restaurant. It's preposterous and absurd, and anyone can tell, anyone who's capable of even the most base level thinking can tell that obviously that's being done intentionally, and that they're told to do that. So it plays, all of this plays into the problem, reaction, solution situation, and that's what these change agents, the Frauditors, and rebel Mossad News always do. They're all a part of these staged events, and they lie to you and deceive just as much as the mainstream media does, because they're interconnected. The mainstream media also presents these same fake staged events as if they were real. They're setting up a movie and utilizing this staged movie using these actors they control, the Freemasons, the useful idiots who get a few more material benefits than the regular people, the proletariat, or the goyim, whatever you want to call them. That's how it's done. And so these people are eager to always defend that system, no matter what the cost. And they will lie about literally anything. They'll take part in any type of deception. All that matters is that they do what the state tells them. And many of these people, it seems they're so far gone, it seems that they must have actually been conditioned into this since childhood, into this mentality, because we see now in Canada, there are a lot of families who literally raise their children this way, with this mentality. They have no empathy. All that matters is pushing these agendas through. And with some of these people, again, that is reflective of what you would have with trauma-based mind control, if they've been brought up that way, conditioned that way. So there's a lot more to it than what many people would see on the surface. But these folks are all just actors who play their roles to help push these agendas. You'll see this actor, True North Transparency, also promoting the QR code, which ties right in with the digital ID that they're trying to promote. And he's pushing that, normalizing that symbol by showing it for his whole PayPal thing where you can give him funds. Really, all it is the people who control him tell him to show that image in the video just so they can get people used to seeing it. Subconscious programming. You see a lot of these fake truth or shills and online agents showing that QR code symbol, and they're putting it out there just so it seems like it's just to give them donations, but it's also to condition you to get used to seeing that, because that's what they're going to use. You're going to have to use that to pay for anything in the future, and it's going to tie in with the digital ID. So they're going to use these shills who they control to show that image, to subconsciously program people just to get used to seeing it. We see him doing that as well. Just like so many of these other frauds and change agents who they use to push these agendas. This method that is used, where they bring in change agents to direct and control these narratives by staging large-scale fake protests and orchestrating all this manufactured chaos, was proven to be very effective in the example of the trucker convoy. Because what did they do there? Well, they flooded the streets with mainly fake protesters who the state supplied. In other words, paid people to go out there. And they manufactured all of these fake interactions and clashes with the controlled Masonic police. And what was achieved in the end? Well, nothing was achieved. At the end of it, they're going on the news and telling you in the controlled media that all of these people who are leading the trucker convoy are now supposedly going to be doing prison time. And they're staging all these fake trials, which no one can actually see inside these courtrooms. And that's for a reason, too, because it's all fake and staged. With these state-funded actors like Tamara Litch and that Pat King guy. Most of these people, again, are from military families from the communitarian system. And heavy involvement in Freemasonry with a lot of these people who they use to stage these acting skits as well. And what they do is they use them as the example. So they don't want any real people or any real grassroots opposition to this. Instead, to completely stop that from happening, they fund endless amounts of people who they control. They go out there, orchestrate manufactured chaos to make it seem like these people who oppose these agendas are crazy, violent, unstable, etc. And then they use the controlled media to push these narratives. And then they tell you at the end of it that many of these people have been arrested, and it's all nonsense. None of those people is going to be doing any prison time. These fake trials with Tamara Litch and these people involved in the trucker convoy are about as real as that that Trump assassination. Okay, they just do it to scare people who would oppose these agendas into complicity, so that they will be too scared to oppose these things, too scared to speak out. And they use these state-funded actors like Tamara Litch, Pat King, the people associated with the trucker convoy, and these frauditors, these Freemasons, to do things like this. These are change agents. If they're talked about openly in the media and they oppose these agendas, then you can rest assured they're controlled by the state, because they're not going to risk allowing someone who is uncontrolled to go on and speak. That person could say something that they're not prepared for, right? And make them seem really stupid. And obviously that person's intentions are true and pure, whereas these people can take these narratives. They've already been trained in this, in these types of deception methods. They'll be given a lot of truthful information in some cases so that they can deceive some of the people who are legitimate into trusting them. And then they will take the narrative and steer it gradually in the direction that those funding these operations and pushing these large-scale scams want it to go. And the end goal is always achieved in the way these controllers want things to go. So it is much more complex than a lot of people know, and it is not nearly just as simple as what you see on the outside, but these are methods that they use. If you're unaware of this, look into the Delphi method, which they use within communitarianism, where they bring in these NGOs to set up these meetings within the quote-unquote communities, and then they bring people in and pretend to give them the illusion of choice with regards to implementing certain agendas in the communities. But in reality, all of these so-called quote-unquote choices lead to the same predetermined outcomes as set out by the controllers and the NGOs who facilitate these things. So there really is no democratic process there. They're just creating the illusion of democracy. The same as what they did with the trucker convoy, and the same as what they do with this psychological operation with these Freemason auditors. So here you're going to hear this Freemason fraud, this actor, the guy who plays the quote-unquote True North transparency character, who I've spoken about in previous videos, mimicking the way I speak, because they get told to do that. That's one of the things they get told to do by CSIS, who sets up these operations. And obviously they get told a lot of things to say in the videos too. It's not organic. They're not just doing it as some sort of grassroots thing. They get told what to say, because he's mimicking the way I speak here. So you'll hear, and things that I regularly say. Because again, this is because these people, when I put out videos exposing them, they can't deal with any real points, because they're deceivers, they're liars, and they're basically just actors performing these staged skits where they set up fake arguments with people at construction sites and staged interactions with the police. Oh, also, a lot of these people at these construction sites, it's well known that a lot of them are Blue Lodge Masons, right? So, of course, they're going to have this set up with another Mason to do that. And because I've pointed out a lot of legitimate facts about what frauds these people are, and so this is what they do. And also, I'm going to show you exactly how this is described in the Masonic Diversion Tactics Manual, just so you'll see that these are methods that they use when somebody confronts them with the truth. They're told to just ridicule or repeat things that the person says, or mock the way they speak. Yeah, basically just mimicry. So here's Rick mimicking the way I speak here.
What I was saying. Back to what I was saying. Here, set it up. So back to what I was saying.
Okay, so you hear me say that regularly. I guess it's something, it's inadvertent, but I do kind of say that a lot in the videos. I'll be talking about something, and then, you know, you get sidetracked, and then to get back, I'll say, oh, back to what I was saying. Now, anyone can say, okay, that's a common phrase, lots of people say that, but I'm putting it in the context of the fact that I've put out videos exposing these people as frauds, and I've told you also they can't deal with that in any legitimate way. They can only mimic people, and I'm also going to show you that they're instructed to do this in the Masonic Diversion Tactics Manual that Freemasons use when confronted with the truth and facts about their lying, deceit, inversion, and manipulation, and you know, these little stage plays that they put on to make you think that these frauds are for freedom, when in reality they work for the same system that they pretend to oppose. So that's Rick, True North Transparency, mimicking me there again. And I have a couple other clips saved where he's doing this. But again, a lot of stuff saved with these frauds, the Frauditors, and I'm going to start exposing them more. So what he just did there, again, let's listen there. He's mimicking the way I speak. He's mimicking things that I say regularly in my videos because he's a phony, because he's an actor, and because he can't deal with it when real people bring up things about them to expose them. All they're told to do, and you can tell, they're told to do this. They're told to just ridicule, mock, repeat things that the person says, mimic things that the person says, and go to ad hominem when they're confronted about who they really are, when they're confronted about their Masonic deceit with these staged fake interactions with the cops and these fake overblown stage play arguments that they have when they go to intentionally provoke people at construction sites and outside of restaurants. So that's him mimicking me again. Here, this is, how many times have you heard me say this?
You're gonna be famous.
Okay, give me, hold on, let me just rewind that again.
In the first place, I can almost guarantee somebody in the site mentioned to this guy, hey,
okay,
your baby. I don't know. I'd be really concerned about bringing my child down there. Well, YouTube. You're gonna that guy alone. Here,
mimicking the way I
back
speak.
to what I was saying.
I say that a lot in my videos.
I can almost guarantee
You'll know that if you watch my videos. I say that a lot. It's inadvertent. I guess it's something that you don't notice, but I do know now that I say that a lot. And so he's mimicking the way I speak there. What I'm going to show you is the clear description of methods that they use to do these things. They're told just to ridicule, mimic, mock people who expose them for their lies, because they can't refute the things that I've said. They're phonies. They work for the state. Their interactions with the police are all staged, and they're being paid to do this so that they can cover up the crimes that the police are really committing, and so that they can create justifications with their collaboration with the Canadian media. These people, no one who's real or legitimate gets talked about in the mainstream media. Anyone who's looked into this in any meaningful way knows that. So these are methods that they use. I'll show you specifically in Masonic diversion tactics. He won't deal with the facts. They're phonies. They're Freemasons. You can also look into the fact that all of these Canadian frauditors, specifically Rick and what's the other guy? Mad Lab Press, aka Mossad Lab Press, have close connections. They interact with this auditor in the US from the News Now organization. And there's a number of clear videos from the one individual, News Now Patrick, being called out by a police officer who he was pretending to expose with for News Now Patrick having a Freemason tattoo on his arm. And the cop says to him, "Are you a Mason?" And then the guy pretends that he didn't hear it, okay? So we have Freemasons there with the News Now organizations, and it's well known that Freemasons only typically often associate with other Freemasons. So with the other information, we've given this guy constantly saying 33 in a lot of his videos, just to mock people who know who he really is and what he's a part of. He's a dishonest fraud who stages fake interactions with the police, and all he can do is mock and mimic things that other people put out by doing that, and just ridicule the way they speak, because he's a child. He's a man-child with no intellect. He can't deal with real ideas that I've put forth. He can't best those ideas. He can't defend who he really is. Everything he does is done through deception, lying, inversion, and he's working with the Canadian state, also controlled Canadian media, who pretend to play fake opposition against these people by calling them out, but in reality, if they were real, the media would ignore them. They don't bring real people on who are actually exposing the police in the media, and anyone who's done any real research knows that most of the stuff you see in the media about the police is just staged. They stage false flags all the time, police officers. This phony never talks about that. Almost all the male police officers in Canada are Freemasons. This phony never talks about that. So that's the thing, right? And again, he's hinting at also in another video I have of him, I have it saved also, he's talking specifically about how he's from a military family, and it's well known that they use people from military families in these deceitful operations such as this. If you've done any real reading or research, you would know that. So again, I'll show you the Masonic Diversion Tactics Manual and how this fraud is trained in methods of deception, and he's trained to just ridicule and mimic people because he's not an actual content creator. An actual content creator doesn't get told what to say and do in their videos. So I'll show you the Masonic Diversion Tactics part now. Oh, and just to go into one other point, as I spoke about in that other video, in that video Rick was mimicking what I was saying about the handcuffs that the cop put on, mimicking that. Now, I also know that Rick is subscribed to one of my other channels, one of the smaller channels I have, which I don't upload to as often as the main one, but it showed me even on the notifications that says True North Transparency has subscribed to your channel, and on that channel I have that video where the Ottawa cop attacked me, and then Rick is mimicking what I was saying in that video there, so that's one, and here again we hear Rick mimicking things that I regularly say. And this is because he can't deal with any of the points I made, calling them out as frauds and deceivers who work for the same system that they pretend to be against. So that's another point there. There's numerous points of him mimicking things that I've said, And I'm fairly sure he's seen that video because he is subscribed to that other channel. And I can even look and find the notifications on that one. I don't speak about the couple other smaller channels I have because I have them just in case the main one should get censored. So they're kind of just backups. But it showed me a notification that he had subscribed to that channel as well. So now that one doesn't have as much, it's more just stalking of the police on that channel and shorter clips. But I did upload that full video where the Ottawa cop attacked me, so presumably he would have seen that, and he's mimicking things that I was saying in that video, and then he's mimicking the way I regularly speak, phrases that I regularly say in this video as well. So when they set up these change agent channels, they have a lot of people who they hire actually, and it's their job to go in and just post comments to prop these people up, to make it look legitimate and to make it look like there's a lot more support than there really actually is. Because if there was this much support as what you see with these enormous amounts of followers these people have, would you still be seeing such extreme police corruption? No, of course not. If you had that much real pushback, for example, the same thing with the trucker convoy, where all of the protests were pretty much manufactured and fake, you can tell that it wasn't legitimate, not only from looking at the people involved in it, the change agents who they utilized, but also from the fact that nothing at all changed. Things just got worse. So if you had that much legitimate pushback from the public, since they're not using any physical force or violence for the most part, they would have no choice but to yield a little bit and, listen to the voices of the public. But because it's all false, and all these people, most of these people who they put out there are controlled by the state, it works perfectly for them because they create this fake sense that there's all of this opposition, when in reality this is completely 95% controlled opposition. Now let's just look at some of these comments here. So right away we see, like I said, they use Freemasons and people involved in the military operations. That skull and bone symbol there again is also closely associated with the CIA and military intelligence, and that's a symbol they use a lot. And he says, I need you guys here in Ottawa. So you know who these people are. It's a Masonic thing that's all set up, and it's a military operation as well online. With the whole situation, it literally is, as they consider it, if you look into some of these actual documents they have pertaining to this, information warfare. Hence the info wars, which of course they used Alex Jones to discredit people for so long, and now he's served his purpose and they're pretty much getting rid of him because everyone knows he's actually associated with the same companies that he pretends to oppose, and he's just been used as an actor. There's bikers stalking bikers driving by outside. So check this out here. So he's got the military skull and bone symbolism. They're associated with the CIA and military intelligence, that logo, and the military in general, that skull and bones and or pirate logo. And take a look at the page here. What does he have? Oh, he's got a big one eye symbol, the symbol of the all-seeing eye. This guy seems like he's really on the side of freedom, right? And it's just another phony-looking a Frauditor type of channel here. Look at this nonsense. The usual corny little cartoon-style emoji type of thumbnails here. Clickbait nonsense to dumb you down. And I'm not going to click on it, but I'm guessing it's probably going to have a lot of like fake confrontations and just staged acting skits where they pretend to expose the police. Again, military intelligence. Look at, and he's wearing the beret, the Canadian beret. Now, in the United States, they use that symbol a lot. You'll see it a lot in the comment sections. As well, you'll see a symbol of like a cat. Somebody puts like a cat, again, associated with the occult and witchcraft. You'll see that all throughout these fake, contrived comment sections as well. That guy's definitely a shill if he's in Ottawa and he's supporting these people and he's pretending that their fake interactions with the cops are real, okay? So, yeah, like the comment sections are completely controlled. This is how intelligence agencies set up these psychological operations. They want to get some people to believe that these people are legit, obviously. So they give them large followings, and they have a lot of people where it's their job to go and just prop them up in the comment section. But also, obviously now, with the sophisticated technology they have with AI, they can use AI to do a lot of that too. You'll just see, if you look at their comment sections, it's so generic, a lot of the things. And most of the comments just praise the Frauditors for the amazing work that they do. It's so obviously fake, and this is how they set up these psychological operations to affect people's perception management. So in doing this, they're creating this illusion that there's this enormous amount of support for these people, yet nothing really changes with the corruption. So if they had that much support, that's the thing is also, it assists them to perfectly steer the narrative the way they want to, because they're blurring the lines between acting and reality, right? And that's exactly the same thing that they've used TV to do for years. The only difference is now they're using regular citizens in the place of actors. But they're the same in the sense that most of these citizens they're using are from military families and are involved in masonry, the same way with actors who they've used for years. But to give it this sense of reality, they're just using regular people a lot now, just regular citizens. And that's because they've all signed on and agreed to this communitarian system, but they can't speak openly about it. They have to keep quiet about that. And that's the system which for some of them provides them with free accommodation and a whole lot of added perks for doing these things, and also provided added benefits for participating in this enormous deceit that's going on to push these agendas that the state wants to push, and to literally invert things and tell you that war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength, inverting the truth, completely controlling people's perception of what truth is. And so that's another reason they set up all these fake situations with these audiences, with these people, is so that they can have this huge mob to attack anyone who speaks real truth about these people, because they cannot defend themselves on an individual basis. When they get called out, it's so blatantly obvious that they're frauds. So they have to create all these people to just swarm and attack anyone who speaks real truth about these change agents who are set up through intelligence agencies. And this individual, again, has admitted that he's from a military family. And those are people who they use specifically in these operations. So this is what YouTube has become. It's mostly, in general, just acting. And these pages that are used to push specific agendas that the elites want to push. And they fund these agents just to guide the narrative in the direction that they want to go. And there's no one who's legit at this point with the way this website is and the way they basically control people's perception management with regards to real truth that would have that many followers at all. You can see there's a video that he has up. I don't know if he still has it or whether he's taken it down, but he talks about how rapidly his subscriber base was growing. And again, he's just mocking people when he was doing it. And then he flashes that 3 6s Modra Masonic hand sign as he says it. So again, this is not real. These are actors. I know there are still some people who believe in their emotional manipulation, but remove emotion and look at all of the things that point towards these people being used in psychological operations. It's very clear that's what they're doing, and you can tell they have specific agendas. They won't talk about certain things that are really happening with regards to police corruption because they're told what to do and say, and that's how this whole thing works.